Hello and welcome back everybody to True Crime Metrix. We're continuing on with our long haul journey through the Jailhouse calls. Part 4. I mean, I just had a quick brief snippet run through just to get an idea of a little sentence or two I could put in the description. What are they talking about? What's being discussed? What's going on? You know, is there an important message, a coded message? What is it? No, nothing. In fact, I thought that I'd accidentally put on yesterday's video because it's pretty much the same. I'm sure there's bits and pieces. I'm sure it's going to be good. It's not the same video. I played it back, but he's still there. He's still there going, well, there's 1,000,000 to 1 that she went down Trescott. She wrote that in her book. A small stop on the way to civilization. You know, Georgia Cappleman had help with her power, but Josh Dubin is the best in the world. Everyone knows that. That's why he costs $1 million. If you pay big, the law doesn't apply to you. That's what it says on his business card. Pay big and I'll get you out of anything. But you gotta pay big, because paying big makes you better than everybody else and above the law, above society, and above jails. He should be under the jail. Anyway, that's what we're going to be doing tonight, folks. I am aware, actually, as we are drawing closer and closer and closer. I know it says part 4. That's because we're doing commentary, but it's actually videos 18 and 19 that we have prepared, ready to go, which means there is 6 segments remaining. I don't know the total duration of what that would be, but I do know that there are some very interesting things coming, because obviously I've heard them all before, but a little while ago, and there are some very, I did a little bit of research on this gun that was mentioned, and I'm looking forward to going through that with y'all at some point as well. It's not a gun that's used in any murder. It's not a murder weapon, but there is a gun discussed, and I did a little bit of research on it, and I found it very strange. Very strange. So I don't think that's going to be coming today. I think it's right near the end. So we've got to go. We're doing 18, 19 today. Then we're doing 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. That's the plan. I hope you like it. Okay, welcome everybody. Pi Bird, Deb H, David, Anderson Kirk, Michelle, Mary A. How you doing, Linny? And everybody else, well done for coming, guys. Okay, do please remember to leave a like on that video, and that's the last time we're going to bother you with a request for about 3 minutes.
Charlie.
Yeah,
no worries.
You got both of us.
Yeah, got us both.
All right.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be all right.
I know you will, Charlie.
I will, Charlie.
I'm gonna be good. I'll be strong. I'll be fine.
Yes. I know you will. This
Sorry.
crappy way you.
By the way, I had a couple of comments about the fan. I've moved it about 6 feet away. It's on the lowest setting. It's not doing much, so I might just turn it off. But can you actually hear it? Because I listened to a little bit of yesterday's show, and I didn't really think the fan was overbearing. I mean, I could hear everything voice-wise pretty easy. It wasn't actually that bad. And all that buffer at the beginning of the video that we had yesterday, where I went on that long monologue, and I really wanted to listen it back because, it's not prepared. It just comes out of me, and I never know what I'm saying. But I did want to hear it back. And it's actually not that bad. It's not, you don't even notice the buffer. There's a couple of occasions where it cuts a second out of a sentence. That's it. So it was great. Can anyone hear the fan? Is it bad? Shall I turn it off?
Or this is going to be. It's going to get better as you get the head out of that. Hold doesn't go a little better.
I'll feel a little better once I get to the other pod and I can move around a little bit.
Right. I know.
Right.
You're stuck in here.
I'm literally like hit in solitary hell.
You did 5 months already. It's really hard to go back to that. Terrible.
Well, at least then I can look outside my window. This is not like the.
Thanks for the message. It's about time. Much appreciated.
I feel like this place is filthy. I think you can't step on the floor and piss on the floor. You stick to the floor, there's blood on the walls and shit on the ceiling.
So,
You know?
as I told you, I told you exactly at 12:05 when Dan texted me what he said. So he's trying, Charlie.
Yeah, no, I know that.
Yeah.
Mac.
Yeah, Dan has sent a text to Chief Whaley, and he's doing all he can. He's having a really nice lunch somewhere, isn't he? If he's not snorting coke off a hooker's tit.
Like, we got him in charge of us. He's supposed to come down and see me.
Who's the one that he said he spoke to? He spoke to the other.
He spoke to Whaley.
Well, that's it.
Whaley.
Yeah. It's just, it is a lot.
Yeah, it's
More than a lot.
It is, Charlie.
It's unfathomable. It's unthinkable. It's more than a lot. I mean, it's right. I can't.
It just kills me because I knew that this is what Tallahassee was going to be. I knew exactly, and it's like no matter what your case is, no matter who your lawyers are, no matter what jury consultants you get, you're still dealing with the 911 operators and coming out for your jury's trial.
Dad actually doesn't know you. He told me the story before about one of the people. She was on the jury, right?
No. We had to use an X to get rid of her. The judge wouldn't release her for cause.
Just wouldn't release her for cause. The mother of the 911 officer. The aunt, right?
Yeah,
So they're bitching about he had to use one of his exes in the jury selection process, the blackball. He had to blackball a potential juror that was the aunt of the 911 operator. I mean, what do you think? What is that? I mean, do you think the 911 operator's aunt is going to be like, hey, my nephew took this call, and that's who they're trying. I'm going to make him hang for this. Why would she have any bias just because she's the aunt of a fucking operator? Those operators are trained to not be involved at all. There's evidence gathering, right? They do that straight away. Did you see anyone running from the scene? Were they covered in blood? But, they're just clinical workers. And, he got in trouble. The Markells, I believe, got a settlement from the 911 dispatch, whoever runs that, for $30,000. Because he was a bit shit on the fucking 911 call. He didn't realize it was the level of emergency, didn't realize it was a shooting. I mean, Jim Geiger didn't even really realize it was a shooting, but, the 911 operator sent like low urgency response time when really he should have, got the cavalry coming. Get the cavalry coming.
Yeah, her nephew took the 911 call when Dan was shot. He's the one that's heard on the call during the dispatch. So the aunt came out for jury selection, and we said to the judge, well, we're going to be, what if we're critical of her nephew who's taking the call, and where there's some critique that we have, and that's his aunt, and she's on the jury, and she's listening to us critique her nephew's performance. And she said, well, I could be fair and treat him fair and give him a fair shot and follow the jury's instructions and pursue him to be innocent until proven guilty. And they go, okay, she can follow the rule of law. We can keep her. they keep her in the pool. The only people who got kicked off for cause are that they said they can't follow the judge's instructions and they can't change their thoughts that they had on the case.
Yeah.
Like I had the mayor. Mayor was with all these people for 8 hours. They were with the mayor of Tallahassee. He was the last one we brought in, and we asked him if he knew about the case. He said he knew about the case. He thought I was guilty, and he said there's nothing you can say that would make me change my mind.
So he got
I said,
off.
okay, you're struck for cause. That gets you struck for cause. But being the aunt of the 911 operator in the trial,
Not
you're
sure.
good to go. Not struck
You know,
for
they
cause.
pulled in the counties, right?
So you had to use one of your strikes on her. They wouldn't take
Yep.
it.
No, I had to use my strike on her. I mean, how much closer to the case can you get?
No.
You know, and then you got the guy who knows all about the case, who was a lieutenant, and he was with the Miami-Dade Police, 24-year arson investigator, know-it-all, who knows everything. You know, told us he had a photographic memory. You know, Dubin asked him a couple questions. He said the guy didn't know what he was talking about. Later, he got specific questions about stuff. The guy knew all about the case, but he said he could be fair and be impartial. But you got to get this guy off. Like, it was the people that we were using our 10Xs on were people that, like, you could not sit them on your jury. Like, you already knew they were there to convict. It was painfully obvious. But Dan said, listen, I don't know how truthful our jury was when they on the ones we picked. I mean, you only know what they tell you.
Of course.
If they say I know nothing, it's hard to get the full question.
Yeah.
You know, not to mention, you're going to release all these people's names to the community this week of who's to how the jury. People are going to be curious, just glance at the names, see if I know anybody. That small town mentality. Let me look at the names, see if I know anybody. Like, okay, I know this person. Well, do you think this person, if they let me go, they want to be getting phone calls from that?
Oh, yeah. Did we see that? Anyway, I'll show you here. We got new merch. New merch in the merch store. So everyone should go and get merch. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, kosher style merch. Fantastic merch. Do people like it? That took me all day. Yeah, no, link in the description. We're starting a kosher style product range. This is our second edition. We've also got the shrimp cocktail. Well, it's not really a cocktail. It's just a shrimp. Where's our shrimp? We got hoodies. We got collars. If anyone wants a specific color, there's about 10,000 to choose from. So, but they only, we can do any color you want. If you want a specific color of merch, let us know somehow. Email truecrimemetrics@gmail, Discord, or in the comments. It doesn't matter. Okay.
That person, what, were you crazy? Yeah. I think the case that I had this whole long talk with Mom, but I'll make it short. I think the case got dumbed down to Wendi as a TV repairman. She got a TV joke. She got a TV as a gift. The undercover guy is trying to extort you for money. Mom references the TV. You got the TV coincidence that it's unbelievable that TV came up that many times. On the day of the murder, TV getting repaired. That's her alibi. Then the other thing that's unshakable is what Kaplan said. She just couldn't help herself. She had to drive to the scene of the crime, have her way on the liquor store. The regional liquor store's closer, and shows up an hour after everything was done because she just couldn't help herself. Well, if it's true, and Wendi showed up because she knew something was going to happen, then I'm guilty. Without a doubt. If you want to say it's a coincidence, then you can excuse that with the word coincidence. But like the things line up, they line up. So you either have an explanation, or you just say it's a coincidence. But you can't use the word coincidence too many times before someone says, do you think I'm stupid? Like, how often do you want to say the word coincidence before you tell me I'm stupid. Or think I'm stupid. Take me for stupid. Then you got all these other people piling on who have motives. Every good person running their mouth has a fucking motive. They all have motives up there. Even my best friend Ryan Fitzpatrick said this. Okay, I didn't even know the guy at 14. I had 2 text messages with her. Doesn't matter. She said he's my best friend. He must be my best friend. So like, you could boil the whole case down to what the fuck's Wendi doing in his house an hour after he gets shot. That's the whole case. If it's a coincidence, I could be innocent. If it's not a coincidence, I have to be guilty.
Well, not just you. If you're guilty, Wendy's guilty.
So of course, yeah, she has prior knowledge.
That's what she was
She's
saying.
showing up, right? I mean, she basically called her out on it. Like, she couldn't help but go see. Well, that's like saying that she was a part of it. She couldn't help herself. Wasn't that what happened?
I really wonder how much of these calls we are likely to hear in trial. I mean, that was a good line, wasn't it? Well, if you're guilty, then Wendy's guilty. Maybe you are guilty. It's About Time says, I'm healing from a narcissistic abuse on a few levels, but one main abuser was an asshole like Charlie that I was in a relationship with for 10 years, the repetitive lectures, the comparisons, Dolphins, Chiefs, etc. Yeah, I think that's one of the main reasons that so many people are so drawn to this case, because it's got something for everybody, right? If you have a narcissistic mother, there's Donna right there. You know, if you've had a narcissistic relationship, there's Charlie. You know, when he's talking to June and he's like, June, you're being weird, June. You know what I want to do, June? I want to work out with my girlfriend. I want to eat some Maine lobsters, and I want to watch the basketball game. But you just want to do your nails and your hair. So why don't you stay at home and bitch and moan? You're stupid, June. You're either stupid or you're lying. You told me to cheat. You told me to cheat. I gotta dig out that call. It is just so priceless. But yeah, I mean, there's something for everybody in this case. There's some character somewhere that we know from our own lives. And that's why it draws so many. How many people do we have in chat? Let's all hit the like button as we're all here together. Good job, guys. Hit that like button.
Exactly what she said.
So she's giving a logical, simple explanation to a simple act. She showed up because she knew something was going to happen. Why else would she? What else are the chances of Wendi leaving her house 7 miles away, looking to drive down any street on that date, at that time, an hour after everything happened, for one reason only, and it's to go buy a bottle of liquor? Well, there no liquor stores close to her house. Yeah, they mapped out like 3 or 4 or 5 of them. Was that the most direct route to the liquor store? It was the route she knew how to go, but it wasn't the most direct route. So it's not the most direct route. It passes 3 other liquor stores that are way closer. And she's looking to drive down that street on that time, on that date. I said to Mom and Dad, I said, what are the chances of that? Like 1 in 10,000 or more?
More. I mean, it's just, it's so crazy. It's so crazy, but but it happens.
Yeah. But then what happens is then they fill it in with all the chicken shit that they're trying to make chicken salad out of. Where they throw in, we've got emails, we've got angry emails, we've got this, we've got that. Like, me saying I didn't just say I got 1 reason for you not to buy a house. I said I got 5 reasons for you not to buy a house. But like, you know, you've got, you know, you put everything together, and you got Wendi showing up at the crime scene an hour after it happened and trying to drive past the house. It has to be either she knew about it or it's a crazy coincidence.
Yeah.
And if you vote that she knew about it, then you got to vote guilty. I think it literally got dumbed down to like block everything else that Dan said. Everything Dan said was just an excuse at that point. It was, you think that she drove by the house because she knew, where she drove by the house because it was a coincidence at that time. One instance. Which one was it?
Yeah.
That day, that time, that location, with a very poor reason, to be honest with you. I mean, the logical reason is if you're going to a liquor store, there's three or four of them that are closer. If you're going to go to that liquor store, there's a more direct route to go to that liquor store. You went out of your way to go to that liquor store. So if you're going from A to B, why take a detour past his house on that date, on that time? So I think the whole case, honestly, I think the whole case got dumbed down. So I want to believe it's a 1 to 10,000. I think you can honestly dumb it down to, do I want to believe there's a 1 in 10,000 chance, or she had prior knowledge? If you say she had to have had prior knowledge, is the possibility. Yes, the reason she didn't want to go to the other liquor stores really never came out. The reason that she gave that she took a more out of the way route to that liquor store really never came out. The fact is, she was planning on traveling down this street on that date at that time. One of two reasons. Either knew or didn't know. And if you knew, you got to put everything out the window and be like, I don't need to listen to anything else. It's guilty. She knew something was going to happen. That's simple. And that's why such a big deal was made about Wendy's travel route that day.
Yeah.
That was a big piece of evidence.
Yeah, I know.
That was a big piece of evidence, and the TV was a big piece of evidence. And not for me making a joke, but just
No, the repair.
The repair being done that day, and when the undercover comes to you that day, everything's always revolving around the TV set.
Yeah.
Do I want to believe that was a coincidence? Two big coincidences? Like, I could have bought her anything else but a fucking move out. I could have bought her a blender. I could have bought her a sofa. Bought her a rug. Like, that one object that keeps coming up. Gotta be code something, otherwise why would we keep referencing it?
Yeah, but Charlie, there's no such thing as a rug repairman. So if you bought her a rug, it wouldn't have been used as an alibi anyway. So it needed to be a TV. I mean, who calls a repairman for a blender? It's like $30.
I swear to God, I really truly believe that you look at those, can you hear me okay? Hello?
I know. No, we're here, honey. I'm listening to you. I mean, I get it.
There's pain and itself back and forth, but I really truly believe that if you look at the coincidence of traveling on that date, that time, you listen to her reasons, they don't really hold that much water for, they don't sound logical when you say there was 3 or 4 more liquor stores, when you say that there's a more direct route to that liquor store, reasoning starts to kind of sound a little soft. And then you add it up with the TV and how and when it came into conversations, and all of a sudden you're like, it's either both coincidences or she knows and that's why she's there, and he knows and that's why she's talking about TV. We solved the case. Like, I really do believe that's what it came down to. After that, I think they could block everything else out. They have her map, they have her date, they have her times, they have the TV code. Me, I hearing that in the room over and over and over and over again. Like, that was in the opening and that was in the closing.
Yeah.
And the only way you can explain something is this big coincidence. But 2 big coincidences, one big coincidence is hard to swallow. 2 big coincidences surrounding the case starts you making you say, like, how many coincidences are you allowed?
Yeah. No, we talked about that before. It's like too many. How is it possible?
Well, one is enough, you know. Even one's a bit like weak to say, well, that was just a coincidence. My fingerprints are on the gun. Coincidence. Yeah, but when you've got like 85, like these guys, like these knuckleheads, yeah, it's too much.
Just impossible.
You know, I mean, you're how just literally 300 feet from the turnpike. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, certain things are like, Jesus, like.
I don't think that was it. I think the things you mentioned are what they dummied it down to, because that's easy. You know, that's easy to remember.
When you need to think about it, you think, is there any way, like, what are the chances of her showing up? Like, listen, she showed up because she knew that it was all set up. What are the chances of her showing up randomly? I would say 1 in 10,000. You know, because of the timing and the
Yeah. No, of course.
It's 1,000, 1 in 10,000. So on that date, okay, so you're saying it's a coincidence, and George Kaplan's going, she just couldn't help herself. She knew why she showed up. She couldn't help herself. What sounds like a more logical explanation?
Yeah.
Common sense. Dan's trying to explain something away that's a 1 in 10,000 chance. And you know what happens? You start having to excite days. Eventually, it sounds like you're just making excuses. So instead of being able to explain the other stuff, which is the meat and potatoes of the case, we're having to fight. What the fuck is Wendy doing there on that day and that time? If she knew, you gotta put her killed. You use common sense. I really think it, honestly, I hate to say it, but I think it completely got, instead of being able to focus on meat and potatoes, it got the crazy coincidences, and then the batshit crazy, you know, emails going back and forth. And then it just sets the stage for, like, them showing autopsy photos. And it just adjusted it.
It's how she, it's not even so much sum it up, it's how she sloughed over everything and made it so simple at the end. So simple. You know?
Well, was it cool? Listen, I mean, I'm putting myself in the juror's position. If you're telling me that she showed up there and I'm hearing the excuses of why she showed up, it's kind of feeling a little like I'm being sold something, you know, but I can buy it. Then you're telling me about the TV not being a total coincidence. Okay. But now you got all this other stuff you're trying to kind of like you almost, you know, there's too many coincidences on things technically involved around the case are very hard to explain away other than saying that was just a fucking coincidence.
Yeah.
That was a 1 in 10,000. That was a 1 in 10. By the way, that's why people think he's guilty.
What? I didn't hear that.
That's why people think Wendy's guilty is what the fuck was she doing showing up at the scene.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I understand that. And now that you're guilty, she's guilty.
Well, if she showed up at that scene, it's because she had prior knowledge.
Right.
If she had prior knowledge, then she's guilty and I'm guilty.
He keeps saying dumbed down for the jury, but the way that he's taking 3 days to walk himself through this, like, so if she went down that road, she had prior knowledge. Charlie, the jury that you say can only understand things written for a 3rd grade level, or a 1 grade level, 1st grade level, he actually says that, doesn't he? He does say that, doesn't he? Dan made it for a 5th grade level. He should have made it for a 3rd grade level or a 1 grade level. I've never noticed that before. But of course, it's not 1 grade level. It's 1st grade level. He's such a moron. How is this guy a dentist? Seriously. If you don't know numbers, you shouldn't be looking at anyone's teeth and signing them fucking prescriptions. Take 1 pill a day or 6. You choose.
Right. Like, you can't explain things other than coincidence. You know, it's like, and then sometimes you can prove things are just coincidence. I remember one time I was saying to Dave Coffee, like, oh, we got to get together soon, man. It's been years or whatever. And I was talking to him, I think I was walking the dog. And then the next day I was flying out to Vegas. I didn't tell him I was flying out to Vegas. He didn't tell me he was flying out to Vegas. The next day I remember walking around the pool, going to put my, look for a chair at the Wynn, the Wynn Hotel. And they've got 2 pools. And I'm walking around the pool trying to get a chair. I literally, like, you know, people are laying in a pool, they're laying face down or turned to the side. You can walk right by it. It's not like I'm really looking at people. I start walking around the pool. I'm out there for 4 minutes. I walk right into it.
I know, that was the craziest coincidence, right? You just had
Spoke to
spoken.
the night before, said, we got to get together soon, and then
See you the next day.
I didn't tell him I was going to Vegas. He didn't tell me he was going to Vegas, and there's a pool, and I happened to be out there early. It was like 10 in the morning, and I went for a lap around the pool just to see what it looked like and just walk around. Walk straight into it. I mean, how many hotels are there in Vegas? How many pools over there? How easy it is to stay at the same hotel and not run into somebody. He's in San Diego, other Fort Lauderdale. The next day, I have a drink.
I know. Coincidence.
That's a coincidence. And everybody's like, that kind of stuff. But then when you look into it, you can see, like, when did he buy his ticket? When did you buy your ticket? Were you communicating with them around the same time? Was there, who was he planning on going with, or was I planning to go with? Do people know each other? Like, that's when they go into you calling Wendi and talking to her that morning about confirming her TV appointment.
Yeah.
Like, that's why there was so much time spent on it. I mean, I'm just replaying everything in my head, but, like, that wasn't for any other reason but to show, look, you're calling her and talking to her first thing in the morning. I'm talking to her. Like, I'm in the car for an hour and a half while I'm working Jupiter. Oh, my God. But by the way, whatever happened with that person looked at Tortuga and they wrecked it.
No.
What's that?
No. And he had another showing the other day. He asked if anyone read it at Tortuga.
No.
No. What did you say? It was too much?
No, I think, I don't know that one.
Oh, there was
the other
another
one that wanted to.
No, there was another one after that. He showed it a couple of times this week.
Shannon says to me, she's like, oh, what's going on with Tortuga? She said, I see it was taken off the market. And I'm like, I got no idea.
No. I don't know who. I don't know who said that. Who said that?
Janet said it was taken off the market.
No, it's not.
Who said that?
Janice. No, the sign is outside. I talk to him almost every other day. Absolutely not. It's not the case.
Okay.
I don't know why she.
And, yeah, maybe a realtor site. Maybe they didn't have it on the same realtor site, or maybe you should look at it realty.com, or I don't know. They look pretty well.
Yeah. No. That's why, Dan, I keep thinking it's November. What's taking so long? I mean, we thought September, we thought October. I'm shocked, actually.
But I'm not shocked when there's 8% interest rate. The house it costs more now than it did before.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that the people who aren't taking out loans are still like those really expensive homes where people aren't taking out loans when they're billions and millions of like $5-6 million homes. I think they're not taking out loans, but I think the homes where people take out loans get affected drastically when the 30 or more is 8%.
Well, no, I agree.
Because people who buy an $800,000 home, the people who put $300 down and take the loan down for $500, put $200.
Oh, look at that mug. Look at that beautiful mug. Kosher style mug. Sally just sent me a picture of her daughter making a, I don't know, looked like a sort of caramel sundae in the Judge Everett mug. It's awesome. Do you want to see? There's a picture with no human being in it. I guess that's okay. I'll show you. Save. We've got to relaunch the Judge Everett mug on the new merch site. That's going to be a classic, a collector's item. Where is it? There it is. How far we've come. Slept like a baby. You can't really see his face, but there's the mug. How cool. Yeah, everyone should head over to the merch store and get a kosher style mug. Fantastic kosher style mug.
But and then it affects it.
Right.
I mean, look, I would see what you can do about renting it, maybe. Like, but if you sell it, maybe get this one.
Yeah, that's
For me,
fine.
it's more,
I know.
just more of a manage.
Yeah.
It's like that place was me. Like, I know it wasn't fancy. I know it was like, I walked in and it was like, it was home. And I think mentally for the last year and a half, like, I've been walking into that house in my head, like, envisioning, like, envisioning coming home with. Just, you know, I just feel like I was caught, to get quite honest with you. Like, you know, when you know better and then you make a mistake,
Yeah.
you feel like you're like, it's one thing if you do something and you're like, this is what I think is the right thing to do, and then it doesn't work out. That's trauma in your gut. Another thing when your gut tells you something, and then you go, you know the decision you should make. Your gut tells you something, and then you get talked into something other than your gut, and then it turns out not to be the best thing. Then you get even more mad at yourself because you're like, I fucking knew better.
Right.
Like I knew exactly, like I knew, was able to articulate it, I was able to express it, I knew, like every step of the way, what things would look like. I literally, and you know I did because I told you.
I know you told me.
And I'm not talking about one thing in particular, I'm just saying lots of things. Like,
Right.
I knew ahead of time. I knew, I could see how things would turn out. I could see how Three would be moving to North Carolina. Like I could see things. I felt things. Like I feel it in my bones. Like I saw things, I felt things, I knew things. I made observations. I made comments about it. I spoke about it. And then the next question is, okay, so what do you do with all that great gut feeling, Charlie? And then I just like, that's when I spiraled. You know what I mean?
Oh, I do what you mean.
You know, I just, like, who the fuck is somebody to tell me better than what I know? Like, I could say, you want to believe, you want to go with the flow, you want to hope. Like, what the fuck do those words mean now? You know, at the end of the day, I'm the one that's like, it's not sitting on my dinner plate. It's nobody else's dinner plate.
Oh,
I just know it could have been different. A lot of things could have been different. I'm not talking about just one thing.
yeah, I know what you mean.
A ton of things get so fucking different. And I really could have, like, you know, would things have been ideal? No. But they sure as fuck would have been different.
Yeah, they would have been different.
And by the way,
Oh wow, look, some people still out there don't know kosher style. The food was kosher style. There was a confusion if the food was going to be kosher or kosher style, you know. So what's Michelle's explanation? Let's have a look at that. Dan was kosher and so were most of the guests at the wedding. The food was supposed to be kosher. It was not. All kosher Jews had to stop eating. It was an issue. Wendi claimed it was kosher style. Right. Yeah. I mean, the reason it's funny is because there's no such thing as kosher style. It's either kosher or it's not, you know. So the rabbi, Dan's friend, the rabbi that had the, what do you call it, officiated the marriage, had to leave. Not only could he not eat, he actually had to leave the wedding because the food was non-kosher. And then later when questioned about it, you know, what happened is the Adelsons eat nothing but shrimp. The last thing that they want to do is be Jewish, right? They've got this super, like, shut off thing. I mean, they'll go to the Jewish stuff when it's convenient, the Bar Mitzvah, and go to Israel and do certain things and wear those yarmulkes and so on like that. But, you know, on any actual living level, they do not want to do any of that. And certainly Wendi doesn't, you know. This was a big thing before the divorce, you know, when Dan said, I want the boys to be kosher and to go to synagogue and to absorb the prayers and the incense and so on in the synagogue, the temple. And Wendi was in agreement with that. She said, okay, we'll raise them kosher and so on. And then she took her to a birthday party, another child's birthday party, and the kids had pepperoni pizza. And one thing I didn't know, because obviously you can have beef pepperoni. I knew about the pork, I knew about the shrimp. You can't have those things. But I didn't know that it was also this thing about mixing milk and meat. And Wendi somewhat horrifically describes that on the witness stand when she's explaining what kosher is. And hang on, I'm just looking for our other merch. Yeah, and well, there it is. So yeah, I mean, I knew about the shrimp. You can't have shrimp. But you can't mix milk and meat either. You know, in a kosher kitchen at home, you'll have a whole different set of bowls and everything. You wouldn't put a dairy product, milk, cheese, whatever, in a bowl and then wash it and then put meat in it. It can never be used for that. It's just a total non-thing. And I looked it up, why this is a thing in the Jewish faith. And it's because they see milk as being representative of life. You know, like a baby having milk, growing, being born, life-giving, sustenance and all of those things. Milk is representative of the side of the coin that is life, living. And of course, meat is representative of death because it was a living thing and now it's not. So it's, you know, considered, well, it's just not, I don't know what it's considered exactly. It's not kosher. That's the rule. And yeah, but you know, the reason we have merch is because when Wendi said it was kosher style, yeah, he thought it was going to be kosher, but there was a misconfusion and it was just kosher style, which is bullshit. That doesn't exist. What actually happened at the wedding is that Donna and the Adelsons got together and they said, hey, listen, this fuck wants to run things. He's not running shit. We're going to run things. He thinks it's good. We're in charge of the food. Right, we're only having bacon wrapped shrimp and we're dipping it in cheese. You know, we're mixing milk and meat and we're having shellfish and pork. Yeah, so that's why we have the merch. But a lot of people know that already.
I'm not just speaking about one thing in particular. So,
I know.
anybody listening, I'm talking about multiple.
Yeah.
Just one thing, not just two things, not just three things. But I just like I'm just too smart, and I have too good of a gut. And I have the same shit with Enzo. He was the same shit. It was me knowing better and me casting it away to somebody else's hands that the expert that knows better. Like that has a vested interest. You know, that has a benefit. Definitely has a benefit to them. Like don't make no mistake about it. Like there's a benefit to that. There's a benefit to other people along the way that was giving me advice. I know they meant well, but I also know like that advice was also beneficial to them. You know what I mean?
I do.
You know, when someone's advice to you ends with an opportunity for them, you got to take it with a grain of salt.
True.
If there is, even though they care about you, and even though they're, you know, even though there's, you know, they really are good people, they really do care about you, whatever you want to say.
Right.
However they want to dress it up, like there is a benefit to them, and that can't be denied. Huge benefit.
No, of course not.
More than others. You know, whether it's financial or whether it's, being recognition or whatever it is, you know, there is a benefit, and they would commit too. So then you can't say there was no benefit. It's like if you feel something in your gut, and you know something, and you're so sure on it, and you articulate on it, just move on.
Yeah.
You know? Move on. Okay.
You've always said that, go with your gut.
Yeah. Go with your gut, move on. Like, don't be impulsive. You know? But if you can really rationalize it, if you can really talk about it, if you can really think it through, if you're able to articulate good reasons behind it, pros and cons, like be smart. Don't.
Debbie Gibby, I think Debbie Gibby says, right, Rob had to marry a Jewish woman. Oh, and Charlie and Wendy can sleep with 300 people a year, and it's no problem. Yeah, I don't think it was so much has to be Jewish as much as it was cannot be brown. You know? Nothing to stand out on the Hanukkah pictures, please. You know.
Don't be in denial. You know, like, especially when it's like, especially you got to tell you something. I don't know how else to say it. Like, I mean,
I know what you're saying. I know exactly. You don't have to say it. I know what you're saying.
yeah.
I wish I'd fled, is what he was going to say.
I don't know. Not a chance. I've been wrong. You could bring Josh Dubin down next week, and you could bring Dan out here next week, and I mean, you didn't have one. This wasn't a hung jury. You didn't have a fucking one. One would have gotten us a hung jury. A fiery debate in the back would have at least had us waiting longer. There wasn't one.
Not one.
That means there wasn't one. Like, you know, it's not a case where it's like they got it wrong. I wasn't there. I could prove, you know, that I was in LA when they said I was here, and there's a big mix-up, and they come back on appeal. This is the evidence when they show up. This is the evidence of the TV joke. This is the evidence, the emails. You know, the text messages where they're saying I'm dating someone 4 months after I'm dating them, and I'm not. Like, this was all thrown into a Tallahassee courtroom. There was no way that you were going to get 12 unanimous for you. You couldn't get one for you. It was in the ground. Not one. And that's with Dan hitting a home run. That's with my testimony being flawless.
Yeah.
Dan hit a home run. My testimony was flawless. I'm quite tempted just to go and watch it again. You know. Should we do that? Should we do a few little clips, just random, a couple of minutes apiece? I don't know. We might get sucked into it.
That's with witness after witness and getting more than he thought he'd get out of it. He got Luis Rivera to admit that it could have been an extortion. Like, that right there should have been like,
Yeah.
you may not even have to testify. That's reasonable doubt right there.
Right, Jeff. I know.
That's enough. But it got dumbed down.
What did Donna call reasonable doubt yesterday? Probable doubt. You know, I think she's thinking of probable cause, right? And she just got them confused and started going, there was loads of probable doubt. It was so funny.
Wendy couldn't help herself but show up. And if that is true, then I have to be guilty. And if I was sitting on a jury and someone phrased it to me like that, and they gave the reasons of the labor, of liquor stores or crowd or time, and all the little things you want to explain in a way, it was either she knew about it or we're very mistaken. And if she knew about it, you know.
What he's saying is, I'm not in here. I didn't get caught because of my fuck up. It was her fuck up. And now you guys owe me. Find someone to bribe, get a crooked judge, get a senator, get some dirt on a senator.
Take everything else off the table.
Yeah.
That's 1 in 10,000. So you're going to tell me 1 in 10,000 is the chance? You're basically telling me I got a 9,999 times I'm going to be right when I answer that question.
Mm-hmm.
Or 1 in 10,000, that's the number. It's going to say, you know what? This is a chance. I have no idea. That's just a crazy chance. And well, think about it. You got a 1 in 10,000 chance of truly being innocent if you look at it like that. That's why that was a big deal made about in the opening. That's the reason why it was a big deal made about it in the closing, because that's your 1 in 10,000 chance that it was a coincidence with a couple more explanations. Like, if she knew about it, if you believe she knew about it, and that's why she's there, you can deal beyond a reasonable doubt, sure, but that's why she was there, then you got to go. I honestly think it got dumbed down, stuff like that.
It did. I mean, you're right.
And I hate to say it, but I put myself in her in a juror's position.
It's
And I
how
think I'd be smart enough.
Yeah, it's how it's presented.
It's presented like she couldn't help herself. And then you got all these other people who have motives, and of course they're going to throw shit at the wall.
Right.
So you got the shit getting thrown on the wall, and then you got the 1 in 10,000 chance. She shows up at the fucking crime scene an hour after the citizens by chance. 7 miles out of the way. Like, you know what it says, like, don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining?
Yeah.
Right.
I do.
That's when people hear shit like that, and they say that.
Yeah.
What's the truth? But combine that with all the other stuff that you got, and you just, I mean, if I was working in Fort Lauderdale, started at 8:30, they wouldn't take one of those calls that morning.
There might be what? I didn't hear that.
There would be almost none of those calls that morning.
Oh, right.
You know, in the car for an hour and a half. I mean, if they had the text message and me and Katie fighting, where I called her apologizing for calling her a bitch the day before, you know, like, so that just means that we were fighting. That's all it means. Wendy's showing up at the crime scene an hour after it happens by chance, after she talks to her mom and her brother that morning. She couldn't help herself. When we gave the facts, they gave a logical explanation. I guess 99 out of 100 times, you'd have to say that would have to be the reason. I don't buy Wendy's answer of going to a liquor, passing 4 closer liquor stores. Why didn't you just take a more direct route? She passes 4 liquor stores and takes an indirect route to go to a liquor store further away. So
He just said an indirect route. She took an indirect route. Fucking moron. I mean, what is wrong with this guy? It's indirect, you fucking cretin.
we brought by the house an hour after that. I mean, it's 1 in 10,000. 1 in 10,000 she's telling the truth.
He keeps saying 1 in 10,000 like he's sat there and mathematically worked it out. It's not 1 in 10,000. You're just picking a number that sounds large. It's probably more. You know, just in time.
And you can, you know, when they say like beyond a reasonable doubt,
Yeah.
if she showed up on purpose at that place at that time, then he's guilty. That's almost like corroborating evidence. I really think that's how they speak. I really think that's how someone can easily look at everything, come up with that very hard to explain fact, and then like, and say, stop telling me I'm stupid and you're so smart. You'll write another book. You know, by the way, every time you tell someone it's a coincidence to give them a shitty explanation, people always feel like you're.
Dad's saying to me, 2008. I know.
What? Who say that?
What?
She didn't say 2000.
No, she didn't say 2008. I know, but she. I know.
Oh, the book?
Yeah.
Oh, that's because she's okay, here's your answer. Because she said she's wanted to leave there since she got there. She never liked it there.
Yeah. They were
She felt that way. From our side. I mean, look, that's even more reason. She's been playing this forever. She's always wanted to leave since 2008. The stories modeled after her and her family, and the professor teaches at the University of North Florida, University of North Florida State. She put the word North in front of Florida State. University. What does the husband do? He's a professor. So the husband's a professor at North Florida State. Woman does immigration work. You got 2 boys, and the town is an imaginary town that sounds almost fucking identical to Tallahassee. Good job, Lily. You were foreshadowing. I mean, the small stop on the way to civilization. It's a place that you never planned on living, that you thought you were above. Like, showing, you know what they say, like showing up at the scene of the crime? Yeah. That's why it was opened with that and it was closed with that. Because you got to have a real good explanation for that. Yeah.
You know when he keeps saying, you know when they say on those detective shows, they showed up at the scene of the crime. Well, she was at the scene of... Why does he have to explain that? It's a little patronizing, whatever. What's I going to say? Yeah, we still owe it to the case, really, to read out Wendy's whole book, page by page. in an audiobook. Oh my God. I did find it the other day. It just sort of appeared when I was looking for my... what the hell is it? Can you be quiet, please? There's nothing happening. Oh my gosh. Big problem. Big problem. What's the problem? Hey! You're punished. You're so punished. I ought to give you the belt. What the hell was I saying? That's okay. I just found the book the other day, so we need to bring it in. Because, you know, if we go through it piece by piece, I think we'll find other things that are like, oh my God, look at that. Look at that. You know, definitely. Strange things. Apart from we can just all gawk at what a terrible fucking author Wendi is.
And her explanation.
You know what I mean? When you sum it up, Charlie, that's exactly what it was. She made very, very simple work of it. Very simple. It's just avoided any of the things that made common sense, and just went with that.
Yeah. Listen, she got frustrated with me. When I talked to Michael over the weekend, he's like, Appleman got frustrated with you. She was asking question after question after question. She wasn't getting anywhere. She kind of like just threw her hands up in the air. Like, I was like, yeah.
Trust me, she had help over the weekend. Let's put it that way. Should just do that.
What is this thing about Georgia Cappleman having help over the weekend? Where does it say in the rule of law that the state prosecutor has to make her own slides? Like it's an episode of The Apprentice. You know, it's like, yeah. What? Of course she's got help. She's got a whole office full of people working to keep the community safe from people like you. You know, that's why they're called the state. Oh yeah, no, we know what happened. We know what happened. She had help. She had help over the weekend. That's exactly what happened. It's ridiculous. The things that they cling to. At no point saying anything about extortion, $1 million offer, Katie's fake testimony, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, not once. In I don't know how many hours. But I think it's... Total, it's probably more than 24 hours of total runtime of recorded calls that we have, right? We got 25 of them. Some of them are less than an hour. Some of them are like 3 hours. So let's say it's around about a full day of recorded calls. Not once does Katie McBanower get mentioned. Not once does a fake extortion plan get mentioned. I mean, in that context. Well, perhaps it does, but not in any appropriate way.
That PowerPoint was not in place before this weekend, I can tell you. It went through all the postures that they had in the case. I mean, Dan had 7 puzzle pieces. She had 125. It made it seem like it was so voluminous, you know, pulling out little lines highlighted from a conversation, you know, highlighted line, out of context line.
I don't understand. You can lie and lie. The prosecutor lies. I mean, I've had another, another attorney say to me, but that's what they do. That's just what they do. I said, what do you mean that's what they do? They're prosecutors and lie. She said, that's what they do. So they get their point across, and nobody knows the difference unless you really know the difference.
Yeah.
If you don't know the case, you don't know.
You got to know the case.
That's right.
But you got to listen to the percent of the case. Don't take anything the prosecutor says as evidence in the closing. But Jesus, she goes through 2 hours with you, and she really cares And she's putting up slide after slide after slide and being like, guys, come on. Wendi can't help herself. She shows up at the crime scene. Like,
Yeah, it really is an attention.
The way she said it.
Yeah,
Couldn't help herself.
yeah, couldn't help herself.
And that's what they heard.
That's what's
That's just what they heard.
Yeah,
and that Wendi didn't say she couldn't help herself.
yeah.
I didn't say she was a threat. I didn't say that. I didn't say anything that made me arrogant or that I was untouchable. Those were other adjectives that people like to throw around that, like, once they describe you, who you are.
Listen, they heard you testify. There was nothing unlikable or arrogant. It didn't matter if she said you were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel like you're untouchable. You feel like you're arrogant. You're arrogant. You're untouchable. People say that. Ryan said that you said this. Like, she had a mound of bullshit is what she had. She couldn't debate any facts. So boil it all down to when you show up at the scene of the crime and you don't have a real good reason, and you just drove 10 miles, you look guilty. Especially after you spoke to your mom and your brother that morning.
Yeah.
After you got done with your TV repair appointment. Like, it just got dulled down to the point that how do you explain when you're showing up there?
You can't.
Okay, this is the liquor store. Kind of. Was there liquor stores closer? Yeah, 3 of them were half the distance. Was that the most, okay, but then you go, okay, no, she wanted to go to that one in particular. Was that the most direct route to that liquor store? No, it wasn't even the most direct route. It was a route that she was familiar with. So she was drawn to her marital home for a point of reference to then take the long cut to go to the liquor store that was further from her new house at an hour after that. It's either a coincidence or she didn't know. She couldn't help herself. Like, if someone described that to you,
Katie McBanower says coinky dink on one of the recorded calls from the wiretaps. I knew that came from him.
you were a betting man, I would put this as a long shot as a coincidence, even though that's what it was. And I wish to God I really, if I would have appreciated what they could say and then what they would do up here, I felt like, I would have fucking done things different. Let's just put it that way.
I know
If I knew what they were going to say and what they were going to, attorneys knew what they were going to say and do. I don't know what they're smoking that they think that they were going to say and do what they did. But my attorneys knew what the fucking evidence was. The attorneys knew what the evidence was, a lot more than I did. Like, for where we are and what the evidence was and how they'd be able to present it, there's no way, unless they had 12 jurors like number 15, that it could have been anything but a hung jury.
Well, it would have been hung.
It would have been hung with him or another one of the alternates, supposedly. I think there were 2 of them were like that.
Hunged would be a past tense of a past tense. Hung is the past tense of hang. Maybe in some context you could say hanged, but not hunged. H-U-N-G-E-D. That's ridiculous. And she's a fucking school teacher. She should know that.
2 of them.
Yeah. They were the alternates. And who's to say how long they would have held out with the other 11? He might have just said, so this Fieldman, and they just report a hung jury. But those were smart people. These were people who said, listen, she showed up. I don't buy her reasoning. Her mom and her brother are calling her. And this is just way too much of a coincidence for it to be a coincidence. That's it. That's what you had on the jury. It didn't matter what I did on the stand. It didn't matter what Dan said. But one of the guards who was downstairs when I was in the jail cell at the courthouse,
Yeah.
You know, he said to me, he's like
That day?
anyway, well, yeah, well, while I was sitting downstairs for 4 hours, I was talking to one of the guards. Well, he stopped by the cell just to talk to me through the bars. He's like, look, he's like, the only way you get out of here is if all 12 people want to say you're innocent. It's got to be unanimous. Otherwise, it's going to be a hung jury. And if it's a hung jury, you got to come back and do it again. And again. And again.
No.
Like, you're only getting out when all 12 say you're innocent. That's the only way you're walking out. You know, and it's like, if I would know that they would, like, I didn't know all the evidence that everybody else did, the full bullshit evidence. I kind of knew what they thought, but I didn't know all the bullshit evidence that was going to be, that was really going to be the case. And that bullshit evidence existed since day one. They knew the route that she took from day one. But it's like, if I would have known that not like how it was going to be looked at and what the prosecutor was going to be doing and saying, like, I would have.
Charlie, what were you doing for 18 months? Just fucking jerking off in your cell or what? Because if it were me and I had been arrested for murder and conspiracy to commit murder, I would know everything about what was going on. You know, he was like, well, my attorneys knew my case better than me, so I just let them handle it. We paid them a lot of money, so that means I go free. I mean, fuck me, you got 18 months sitting in jail. I would read everything 100 times. I'd walk through, I'd role play, I'd just absolutely, it's the trial for your life. You know, you need to work every single second for that. If you don't, I mean, you deserve to go to jail forever just for not being prepared.
Some things differently. I did. I got talked out of it by people that I thought that like.
So, hi, how you doing, Patricia Burns? Patricia says, these fools also think that the word drug is the past tense of drag and refuse to use the correct word dragged. I remember that from the Sarah Boone interrogation, right? You got up and walked up those stairs and went to bed. Nobody drug you up there. They didn't. Yeah. Nobody drug you up the damn stairs. You didn't float up the damn stairs. You got up and went to bed.
What knowledge of that interest or going through my ass and thinking positively or very hopeful, or you don't have to it's not dealing with it.
Yeah.
One, I was like, you know, you can get all this great advice. You're the one that be on dinner plate. I think, you know, just like we shouldn't play other people's account. You don't want to eat on the dinner plate. And I can tell you, I know for a fact that if I would have thought things as rationally as I am now, like, kind of looking at both sides and then fully seeing what people in Tallahassee look like that are going to be looking at me, I would know how right I was. I mean, Josh Dubin is from Tallahassee.
I thought you said he was from Fort Lauderdale.
He spent 4 years up here, and he's, 18 to 22.
Yeah.
Those are his, developmental adult years. He wasn't like a teenager that didn't really get a feel for people. Like, the guy was here for 4 years. Like, he knows Tallahassee.
Oh, yeah. Sure he does.
You have a consultant to help you pick jurors and get people off your jury, and instead we're getting off the 911 operator's end. We're getting off the plane in Texas. I had 5 people on the jury who had law enforcement in their family. 5.
I don't understand how they were allowed to serve. I don't. by people with law enforcement in the family, and they're on the jury. How? How does that get through? I don't understand that.
Nine law enforcement agencies. There were 3 on the jury who either they worked in Florida State or they have a spouse working in Florida State. And I would wonder if you work in Florida State and you book me innocent, how secure is your job? Your name is going to be released, and everyone in Florida State is going to know that you were on my jury. And those were the name of a guy that worked at the bookstore in Florida State. Right. The 30-year-old fat guy that looked like he was an inbred.
Yeah, Scott Sharp's got a great couple of videos on Sarah Boone and Chandler Halderson. I haven't seen Scott in a while. Yeah. But I haven't seen anything in a while. I never watch YouTube anymore. Just do this.
Yeah, was working in the bookstore at Florida State. They told him, whoa.
Sure. Chad and I looked at each other like, I don't get it. I don't understand. How does this happen? I don't know. You there, honey? Charlie? Charlie? Are you there, Charlie? Charlie?
Uh-oh.
Charlie, are you there? I don't know.
Ho! Yeah, great way to support the channel, guys. Head over to buymeacoffee.com/truecrimemetrics and support the channel on that. Or there's PayPal also in the description. Lots of links in the description, including links to our merch. Look at our merch, Kosher style. Yeah, more coming. I'm trying to at least do like 1 a day, but that's going to take a lot of days. I don't know. The list of merch. What are we going to do for Ramen Noodleson, Patricia? I mean, I guess it's just, even if we can, you know, I don't really want to put the actual Roman Adelson boy on a mug. I mean, that just seems like a little bit too far, and it may, I don't know. I mean, what do people think about that? Probably shouldn't do that, right? Like, to use his image, because you know, we can use Charlie, we can use everyone else because they're criminals, but you know, the Ramen Noodleson boy is just a boy, so we probably shouldn't put him on a mug. But what are we gonna do with Ramen Noodleson? Because it is a touch of genius that Patricia and I came up with together. We're a team.
Hey.
Hi, honey. I don't know what happened there. I just kept saying Charlie weren't there.
Yeah, no, the power, the bars went down, the reception just went down. So I had to wait for it to get service again.
Yeah.
No, I know. Listen, I know I'm belaboring it because I got nothing else in my head, and everything is bad.
You're not going to tell us about the Chiefs and the Dolphins again, are you? I know I'm belaboring it. Yeah, I knew there was a word for this. Belaboring. We're getting somewhere. I'm belaboring this to a 1 grade level. I can't actually believe he said that, and I never picked up on it before. You know? He says, this is the quote, Dan made it for a 5th grade level. He should have made it for a 3rd grade level. Or a 1 grade level. I mean, how have I never noticed that before? I've listened to this I don't know how many times, and I've never picked up on that. Has anyone else been laughing at that for years, or are we all just noticing at the same time together? with Metrix.
The one thing I can
you're
kind
not
of focus
belligerent.
on and rehash.
That's right.
That's all right.
That's right. It's fine. I
That's all
mean,
right, Charlie.
give every
No,
right,
that's
every
right.
right.
But should it be spelt like this, Patricia? What do you think? I just want to see how it looks also. You know, with the E-E-L. Because it looks more like Adelson. Or is it weird? What's better? Let's have a poll. Let's have a poll. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting poll. I want to know what people think in the poll. Should we spell it E-L or L-E? Wonder what people are going to say. Vote in the poll. Thank you, guys. And thank you so much, Michelle, for that beautiful super chat. Excellent stuff.
It's like it gives me something to focus on or talk about. Otherwise, everything else just is really hard for me right now.
I know that.
It's like everything is a trigger. I don't even know what to say. I just I've never been like this, but it's like usually I always focus on something. This is like I focus on the appeal and then I think about it and I'm like.
I think about it and I'm like, what's the point? I'm just wasting my time banging my head against the wall trying to come up with a reason that I can appeal my conviction. Maybe I should just, sit back on my bunk and eat half my apple and save the rest for later and then hopefully have a chess game.
Check out your last name and check out where you are, and you didn't have one fucking juror with all the guns that you brought out ablazing, with all the work that was put into it, with everything that you fucking brought to the table. You couldn't get one. You couldn't even get them to deliberate. You couldn't even get them to. Dan was telling them what wires to listen to, what time. They didn't have to listen to the whole wire. Go to 3 minutes and 36 seconds. No, they weren't even listening. They weren't even taking notes. Their minds were made up. Dan was telling them to go to this wire and to play the wire and hear it for themselves at 3 minutes and 34 seconds. You know what Georgia did? She had a photocopy of the transcript with the words highlighted. So you could read it on the screen for yourself right there. You didn't have to go back to the jury room. Read it right now. I'll read it to you. I almost feel like... You there?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost feel like Dan should have had, if Dan made it for a 5th grade level, he should have made it for a 3rd grade level.
hey.
He should have had the photocopies with the highlighted words saying, it's not done like this. I know for a fact. But everything they explained away...
Yeah, but they heard that.
It must be on another occasion. I know I've heard that. I've heard him say that before. Dan made it for a 5th grade level. He should have made it for a 3rd grade level or a 1 grade level.
Actually heard that over and over. It's just, I don't know what didn't penetrate. I don't know.
I think the case got dumbed down to she's showing up at the scene of the crime. You're telling me she didn't know. If she knew, then they're involved. If she wasn't showing up, okay, I can believe it maybe, but her showing up is the icing on the cake. And that's why they opened with it, and that's why they closed with it, and they even gave their simple explanation, which is she couldn't help herself. And look, 99 out of 100 times.
Not just that she couldn't help herself, but may have wanted to give you that icing on the cake, Charlie. Remember what we said the other day? At the core of Wendy's position is the position of the best way to help myself is to not help them. That's why I'm going to bring up Charlie's TV joke 20 pages into the interview, into the transcript for the interview. That's why I'm going to go down Trescott, because if I knew, then why would I do that? You know, she wanted them to go down.
If, you know, in a case like that, I guess it would make the most sense, except that's not what happened.
No.
But I think if a jury could grasp a hold of, you know, between that and the TV, they had two things that were coincidences that you really don't have explanations for. And it was the day, and it came up the day of the murder and the day of the bump. Why is everybody talking TV talk? And the TV joke ties it all in. 1, 2, 3, and then she's showing up at the scene of the crime.
She doesn't.
I mean, I had somebody ask me that, like, a couple of years ago. It's like, did that really happen? Like, I go, trust me. Like, nobody knew. Like, she showed up. They're like, man, that's like 1 in a million.
Yeah.
And I go, yep. So you mean to tell me 1 in a million you're right? The other, 1 in a million you're innocent? You know, even if you say it's 1 in 10,000, now you're starting off the debate saying, listen, 1 in 10,000 times I'm right. All right, you want to bet I'm right on this one?
He didn't know how to say the number that is a million minus 1. It was like 1 in a million, or now it's 1 to, and then it's back to 10,000.
You can't win it. You can't. Once somebody in their head says, if that's really her explanation, what are the fucking chances? That's near impossible for me to conceptualize. I guarantee you, if they pull jurors, that's going to be the thing that's stuck in their head. That they knew right then and there it was either a coincidence or it was a lie. And the coincidence has to be 1 in 10,000. And maybe they're sitting there saying it's 1. I'm saying 1 in 10,000. Maybe these dudes are saying it's 1 in a million. She had to be a part of it. She's showing up at the. You know what they always say, like that expression. It's like you showed up at the scene of the crime.
Right.
Like they always use it in like detective movies and like.
Sure.
It's a lie. Like you're at the.
We're going to go into the Paul Castellano thing now, I think. He's got this obsession with, you know, history of organized crime.
Showed up at the scene of the crime.
And he talks about it like they were personal friends, you know. Paul was heading into Little Italy, and he was going to a steakhouse, and then he was shot.
But she didn't know anything. Like,
People start a fire and then they show up to watch it. I mean, it's just been on TV forever.
it's always I mean, it would be like, I mean, you know what it would be like? Do you remember that mafia guy in New York, Paul Castellano?
What's the last name?
Castellano. He was shot getting into or out of Sparks Steakhouse in like downtown Manhattan.
Oh, yes. Okay, I didn't remember the name.
It was like that's when John Gotti became like the head of the Gambino crime family. Is when Paul Castellano got shot, and they did it like it was in like downtown Manhattan at Sparks Steakhouse. I just seen it on the news enough. That's all I know.
Wow.
But That's it was like real violent, and it was like he was either getting out of his car or walking into his car out of the steakhouse, right?
Yeah.
And that would be like saying somebody who absolutely hated Paul Castellano, like who had beef with him of some sorts, like who lived, 15 miles away, like pulling up at the scene 30 minutes later. Or even like being there while this actually happened.
Right.
Like sitting in the restaurant while this happened. And like, it's one of those things where you go like, okay, like this guy's this is happening. Manhattan's a big city. Okay, why the hell was this guy here? You could say, well, he was eating dinner the same night at the same restaurant. Okay, maybe. But like, he was going someplace, he was going to a liquor store, passed 4 liquor stores, took alternate routes, and ended up right there at that time. Like, that's a.
So in this analogy, Wendi is John Gotti, which is funny.
Good story. Like, that sets the tone for everything else. Like, that puts a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. It does.
No. You show up at the scene of the crime, randomly, from your house to his house. Like, what did it say? Was it a 17-minute drive?
I think so. I think that's what they said. Yeah.
I mean, and then they put up slides to show liquor stores were like 5 minutes from her house, and she's driving 17 minutes. Like, I mean, I get it. I still would go to CVS right by Nova.
Yeah. There's closer ones. So you go.
Oh,
We used to.
and I pushed that same pharmacy across the street from Nova. I don't know why. Maybe you can do that with liquor stores or pharmacies, but like, I still went to the CVS liquor store and the CVS pharmacy.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, like, what I'm just saying is, like, if I ever were to get an appeal, and listen, Dan told me this. I'm sure he told you the same thing. He said, appellate lawyers are expensive. Spend some money on the appellate lawyer, but don't look to spend a fortune because, hope. You got to give yourself some hope. It's going to take 1.5 years, 2 years, and maybe something will happen, and maybe someone will write something about the case, or something will come forward. But then you got to get a new trial. And I always, what sickens me is that it's not me getting a new trial like most people who are on appeal. They get new trials or whatever. Nobody really knows about the case, or it's an old case, or you pick a jury. You show up for jury duty, you don't know what the hell case you're going to get on. This would be a circus times 2. This would be the fourth trial based on this shit?
Yeah.
Like, it would be a circus. Again, big circus. I mean, you would have to get moved out of Tallahassee, but the circus will travel. And for as well as our case was put together, you couldn't get one fucking person. You couldn't even get the jury to pay at any time. They had already decided. I mean, it's just
They did.
okay.
They did.
See you later, Deb H. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, no, it was. As when I was being brought to court on Friday. So
What was her name, Patricia? I think it was Violet.
the black guy who was going to court with me at the same time and everything, he'd been here 3 years. He got a public defender. He had a first-degree murder charge. Been here 3 years. The guy's last name was Brown.
Yeah.
And I was in my cell. He was in his cell, and I was eating lunch. It was on Friday. And we were talking from the cell to each other for a few minutes, and he was real nervous because the jury was deliberating. The jury started deliberating at 11 o'clock in the morning. I came down for lunch, drove down there. I guess it was about 1 o'clock on Friday. I was like on top of the world. I was like talking, like happy, and testifying, and Dan was like telling me how great I did. Kate was telling me how great I did. Jury consultants that were watching it said I did very well. He said it was the best he's seen me, like, as far as being straightforward and like precise, and, like, composure. You know, like he said, you knocked it out of the park. That was his word to me. Was you knocked it out of the park.
Everybody said it.
I went down and I talked to this guy, and this guy's all down. What's going on? He started talking about his case. He had he's got his girlfriend, his baby mom. She's got an ex-boyfriend. She also has a kid by him. You know, they had words. You know, he told him, like, you know, if you got a problem with her, you can take it up with me. You know, don't talk to her anymore. You want to talk to her, you talk to me. And then the guy showed up at the house, and he said that the guy showed up at the house, he reached for a gun in his jacket. And as soon as he reached...
Hey, thank you so much, Christine. Less than 2 weeks to go to Donna's trial. What date is it today? The 6th of August, at least for me. This side of the Atlantic. So what is that? What is it? Yeah, 13 days. Good stuff. Well, it's about 13 days and 12 hours, and we're going to be hitting, you know, jury selection. I hope they include that in the broadcast, because I really want to see that.
Reached for a gun. He pulled out his gun and he shot him like 8 or 9 times. He's like, one of the last shot was in his head. So he shot him like 8 or 9 times. He's like, man, is it self-defense? And I'm like, what? You stand your ground. You're fine in self-defense. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, does the guy have a weapon? He's like, yeah, that's the thing. You know, when the police, he's like, when I shot him and all, I went back in the house, and when the police came, he didn't have a weapon on him. So he's like, so they're charging him with first-degree murder. So when I was there on Monday, I was talking to one of the officers for a few minutes when I was down in the cells waiting. They're talking me through the bars, and they were telling me, man, like,
Honey?
8 or 9 hours, so like 7 or 8 o'clock at night from 11 in the morning. And he was charged with first-degree murder, and they acquitted him. And I'm like, all 12 jurors? He's like, yeah. I was like, all 12. He just began to felt and tired, and he walked out of the courthouse. He was in jail for 3 years in Leon County. And had a first-degree murder charge. And I was brought him to the police now. I stood with him in the morning. He was the other guy dressing as me. He got him in brown. And he had a public defender. Sat here for 3 years. The guy was unarmed. You know what they said? They said he shot him, and then after he shot him, he went in the house and called 911 to call the police to tell them what had just happened, and that somebody from the hood must have come over and taken his gun off of him and left, but he had a gun when he shot him. And he said he had a gun, and I saw it as he was pulling it out. He goes, but when I shot him, I shot him a bunch of times, ran in the house, called the police, and someone from the hood must have come over and taken the gun. And they said, when the police showed up, they said there wasn't anybody standing around. There wasn't people around. Nobody didn't know that. Then that's what the cop downstairs was telling me. He said there wasn't a crowd. There's nobody around. It wasn't like, it must have been one dude that saw him fall, ran, stole his gun from him, and then kept running, and nobody saw that guy do that. So they have no witness of anyone taking a gun. He just swears that the guy was armed, that someone from the hood, after he fell to the ground and died, went over to the murder victim and stole his handgun from him. And the jury acquitted him.
Mm-hmm.
12 people. And when I was talking to him, he was so worried. He's like, yeah, I only have 2 black people on the whole jury. He's like, I got 2 black women, that's it. Because everybody always says they want black women on the jury. Right. He's like, I only got 2 black women on my jury, man. Like, how many you got? 4 of them. And he was like, oh man, he was like so jealous of him. And he was a black sergeant. The guy was a black guy and served as a sergeant in the U.S. Army, retired after 20 years, and then worked for the post office. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if he was sergeant was like the leader. You know, and sitting there and saying, you don't show up at the scene of the crime unless you're in town. One thing to call it a restaurant, it's another thing to do like a route on the way to a liquor store that's totally out of your way. I mean, look at how big Tallahassee is. Look how many different directions. Look how many different streets she could have taken to fucking get there. She was turning down trespass. Like, you know, was she going to pick up a bicycle? Was she going to pick something up? No, she was turning down trespass at 12:30. Unexplainable. I just, yeah, and listen, I'm not a jury consultant. I'm not the lawyer, but why was I so right about what it was going to look like up here, and they were so mistaken? Like, you have a world-renowned, the guy who's the best at what he does.
They were all charging you like $1 million each, so you know they really wanted you to believe them. That was their whole sales pitch. If you're going to flee to Israel, there's no need for Josh Dubin. No, it's going to be fine once we get to Tallahassee. No, the state can't lie. And we're going to do a psychological evaluation of each jury member. We're going to look inside their minds and we're going to see not guilty verdicts. Just as soon as that check clears. What time does the bank open? 8? We'll be in there at 9.
We're picking juries. Like, beat that. He is the top.
That's right.
You couldn't manage to get one vote. That's because you break it down and say, what are the chances of her turning down trespass at 12:30, leaving her house, talking to her mom, talking to her bro? She couldn't help herself. The only logical explanation, I mean, the shit with like, you know, even if she wanted to go to that liquor store, there was a one direct route. The only way that she went, that was the way she always knew, and she's bad with direction. But it's like, you're this brilliant person, but.
Well, I got to play it all out, Debbie Gibby. I mean, we can certainly do the cross-examination as well. But, you know, this is the thing with these calls. When there's a lull and it gets repetitive and he's just saying the same thing over and over again, we turn it off and then we miss a bit. That's why when we look back sometimes you go, hang on, I never saw this bit before. Because the bit before it is really boring, but then something good happens. I'm confident it will. You know, got to see it through. I mean, it's the whole thing, so got to see it through. But obviously, we're going to keep doing George's Cross, closing argument. You know, we've got all that to come. I've got something really nice coming, special, Debbie, just so you know, and Michelle. Special plan for Georgia Kappelman's closing argument. But I'm not going to tell you because it's not ready, but it is coming. And it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be the best version of it ever. So look forward to that. But, you know, I can't just jump into it now because then all my plans will be ruined.
So bad with direction. It's kind of like hard to understand to some people. You know, you got this brilliant mind, but you can't find your way out of a paper bag. It doesn't flow. You know what I'm saying? The people that are that small have a sense of direction. If you don't been in town for 8 years and you got electronic devices, so you're taking even the long route to go to that liquor store. Passing 4 liquor stores that are closer. These are simple people. And even if you're not a real simple person, you look at that and you go, what the fuck are the chances?
Yeah.
And that's before you start piling on all the other things now you need to explain. And that's before you get to your TV. That's just what the fuck are you doing driving down Prescott at 12:30 on the 8th? Like, it's just, that's why I feel like, listen, I don't want you guys to give up, but I just...
We're not. We're not.
No, it's never give up hope. That's when you really go down a rabbit hole. But I just, that's very, listen, if the trial was going poorly, I would understand.
I know. It was not going poorly.
No, it was going.
Everyone told you, not your parents. Everyone told you. People I know, people I attended, everyone.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, did a witness get to say something? Did I screw up something? Did Dan screw up something? Like, no. It's called the pile of shit that they were able to make out of taking things out of context, and TV set, and Wendi showing up at the crime scene is enough to say beyond that. And also dressing up a reasonable doubt to make it be like, common sense, if you think he's guilty, but listen, I think that somebody showing up at the scene of the crime and they don't have a fucking real good reason why they're there to be backed out, I say that's super fishy.
Yeah, I understand.
Like, you showed up at the scene of the crime. Like, how else do you... if that was the only thing, that would be one thing. But it's like, that's why the showing up at the scene of the crime and the fucking TV became, like, two things pounded in people's heads. And you combine that with all the other fluff, and you have exactly...
Maybe we should have all made this a Xanax party, I wonder how many people in the chat are prescribed Xanax. We don't really have that in when I lived in England. We have Valium. I understand that it's pretty similar.
Exactly what I said is going to happen. It's how it happened. My words were, you don't stand a fucking chance. Even though I know the truth.
Yeah.
You don't stand a fucking chance. Like, how could, but I just don't get how everybody, like, the trial, here's the other thing, Mom, that the trial went really well. Like, it didn't go bad. There were no surprises. Dan was hitting on all 8 cylinders. I was nervous because I've never testified in court before.
Dan was hitting on all these cylinders. Charlie, I don't know if you've got any amateur mechanic experience or not, but you don't hit cylinders, you fire cylinders. The term is he was firing on all cylinders, not hitting. Dan did so good, he was hitting on all cylinders. You know what I mean? This guy's all back to front. It's so funny. You see what I mean, David? Like, we don't always pick up on these things, right? Because you just kind of lose your concentration in the monotony of it. But listening to these things with you guys kind of keeps me present, engaged in this tripe that he's selling. Dan was hitting on all cylinders. What the fuck is that? It's fire.
You can forget something or stumble or and really, be made to look bad. If anything, I thought it helped my credibility when I got up there and they liked me, they agreed with your personality kind of came through a little bit. Like,
it did. That's what everybody said that, yeah. Very personable,
I really
pleasant.
try to, just be myself.
That's the word everybody uses. She's likable. It's a nice guy.
I mean, she tried to say, to make me look bad, she was talking about my mom using the curse word and saying this. I go, honestly, it's just like, you make me laugh. You say the word fucker.
Electronic guitar was a great one, Pariah. And I still like acoustronic. Gotta write that down again. Acoustronic.
Important.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
she said it a few more times trying to get me to laugh, but I wasn't going to laugh. She kind of took me off, like,
Sure. It's
where
not
my head
exactly
was.
as much to do. It has any.
See, Maria knows. They liked me, Mommy, didn't they? They said I was likable on the stand. Dan said I did a 95.
Anything to do with anything. You know, she was.
Yeah, but she sounded like she had Tourette's. I mean, I wanted to say that, but you don't want to say that.
She sounded like she had Tourette's. Why? Because she wouldn't stop going on about the Chiefs and the fucking Dolphins. It's just out of this world, these people. They always do this. They take what they're doing and they say someone else is doing the thing that they're doing. She sounded like she had Tourette's. Tell us about Paul Castellano. Tell us about Wendy's drive down Trescott. Tell us about the Chiefs and the Dolphins. Tell us it was a 1 in 10,000 chance that she would drive down that road at that time, because, you know, we haven't heard that story in the last 30 seconds.
If you don't know if anyone in the jury got a family member with Tourette's, and then they think you're insensitive. But I wanted to say, like, you sounded like you had.
The second chapter of True Crime Metrix autobiography will be entitled Engaged in All This Tripe. I love that. I love that. I will reference you in the credits, Patricia. Engaged in all this tripe. Metrix autobiography title. Reference PB. Thank you, Patricia.
Tourette's, you were standing there screaming out curse words one after the next, like rapid fire, like not in the context of who it was being said to or why it was being said. You're just naming out curse words, standing in the middle of the room screaming. It made me laugh for a second. You know, it's like, that's all I was laughing at. Caught me off guard for a second. But she really, like, I was in such a good mood. Saturday, I remember calling Mike Smith, and I was like, she started asking me, how old is Maria and what did we do for days? I knew she had nothing else to ask.
Yeah, she was out of questions. She didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I had the answers to the real questions in the case. The other answers I can't give her an answer for is a liquor store and the no-code TV.
Golfer girl, how you doing? How's Massachusetts? Still sunny? I hope so. Oh, just before we go to the maps, we should show our Judge Everett mug again in full use. Tipped off with a creamy treat. What's that in the background? Some sort of caramel swirl. How much would Judge Everett love this? Slept like a baby with a sweet caramel something. Let's go to the maps. We're doing so well. I think we're up to 38 states now. A little bit worried about Hawaii. I don't know how many island people have time to listen to me. Not many, I guess. Or mud people down there. Or what do they do in North Dakota? Not much, I guess. You know, something flat. something flat. Yeah, anyone in a grey state, please let us know in the comments and we will check you off the map.
Yeah. No, you can't. No cover.
You can't. It's still like, someone presented this case to me, and they said, they told me her reasons for going, to why she was traveling on that route, on that street, on that time, on that day, instead of the other liquor stores.
Yeah, I know, Patricia. I know I said that, but you put a nice pink or yellow highlighter over it, and I never realize what it is that I say. That's why you're here. to give the gems back to me.
Taking another route, I would say, boy, something that's more like this. Like that would really stick with me. Is that she showed up there randomly. That hate.
Look at this. Terry's all excited. I say, if anyone's in a grey state, let us know and we'll check you off the map. He's like, Australia! Australia!
Every other thing. And I think after that, every other thing has to be.
Oh, by the looks of the picture, Terry is a lady. Sorry, Terry.
A bulletproof answer. Not an excuse without an explanation. Because listen, there's people who showed up at the scene of the crime and have been convicted before, just for showing up.
Yeah.
Like.
Oh, yeah.
He's identified at the scene of the crime, showing up to watch the fire burn out.
Okay. I got you.
Pretty much what it was.
It's not a 1 in 90. It's not a 1 in 100. It's not not even a 1 in 500 for showing up at that day. It's in the thousands.
Yeah.
That I can't debate.
No. I know. Nobody could.
Not unless she goes, oh, I go there every week to go to that liquor store, and that's how I go. Like, when was the last time you went to that liquor store, Wendy? Probably when she was married.
Yeah. A long time ago.
Okay, so it's been 3-4 years since you went that way. So one time in 3-4 years, on that time, on that date, in the thousands. So, if they don't put it this way, if it's dumbing down the case entirely, if they don't buy her explanation 100% on that, it really casts out a lot of other things.
Yeah, that's what happens. They don't buy one thing, then they don't believe anything.
It's a big thing, because you got to understand. Now they have her at the scene of the crime. If she could, because she had prior knowledge, you almost have to assume that I was guilty.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. And that's why, like, before I came up to Tallahassee and everything else, I was like, my gut tells me Roman's going to be in North Carolina one day. And I'm going to be dealing with shit. And so I like literally like a freight train.
I don't know what it seems like.
What's that?
I said that's kind of what it seems like. It's just,
Oh, look at that.
I'll never forget when we went for a walk and I was standing in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
Remember you were like 6-7 months?
Oh, yeah. I do.
That was exactly what you said to me. It was 6 or 7 months.
Yeah.
And then I saw that, and then when I came up here, like, took a while to get the discovery because they were in trial with her, and that was
Right.
That was the day. So that went to June. June, July, I was kind of just getting started.
good stuff. And we really didn't start until, me and Dan really didn't start until after my bond hearing, which was July 29th. No, that was my bond hearing. That was like my first case. I had an appearance on July 29th. And, that's it. And I went to court then, and I remember saying to Dan, like, you think we could do it? He's like, well, I think we could probably get the case done November or possibly December. He's like, November.
Well, you know, I mean, Sigfredo and Katie, while they were in custody, they would both phone Sigfredo's mother, and she would hold up two phones so that they could talk to each other while in, I'm not sure if they were in jail or prison at that time. But it does happen. There's ways to do it.
It was not a good time for trial. Nothing happens in December. And the case doesn't really, doesn't pick up until the second or third week in January. He's like, so we'll have it set for January. So I'm thinking, like, all right, I'll be here till February. I'll get this done. And then when we got to December, we said, let's
Set it for April.
Let's set it back for April. Like, we need a little more time. And I was having a rough time in here in January and part of February. And then Dan's like, you know what? Like, we could be ready in April. He's like, we definitely would be ready in like June, but we can't take a chance. Like, we've come this far. Like, why tell them like June when we may need more than those 8 weeks? He's like, we'll definitely be ready in July. Definitely ready in July. I'm like, all right, so we tried July, but they had a date in July, and then both prosecutors were taking vacation in August. And then in September, the judge said that he had a prior engagement to it.
Right.
And then when I appeared in August, at the end of August 25th, I think, I had like a whole countdown thing on my wall. I had a calendar, keep track of the days. Like, you can see every month I drew out like Sunday to the left, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I hand wrote the days in on the wall at Temple. And then like every day, I put a check mark on it, and if I worked out, I would circle the date. So that was my like working out, if they mentally fit, physically fit, doing my little yoga class with everybody at night, workout class with everybody at night. Like eating my food, reading everything on the trial, reading all the transcripts, all the depots. Like, I really, and it's hard. With ADD, it's hard for me to concentrate anyway.
It wasn't exactly a study area.
No, I'm sitting on the edge of my bed. I don't have a chair with a back. So it was hard for me to study. Honestly, it was hard for me.
I don't have a chair with a back. Hey, Charlie, I do. I love the back of my chair. It's great. It's great.
Focus. I didn't realize how bad I had it. It was hard for me to focus and read, and I did it. And like, I forced myself. Hours, and I went through everything with Dan, and it was like, we're ready.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, like, my initial gut feeling was that was right. Like, looking back on it, like, Dan did it, he left it all out there. Like, he did the best he could. Like, yeah, like for fucking, having the best lawyer who's working his tail off, who had that team behind it. It wasn't just him plugging away in his solo office. He had a team he was doing this guy with him. Like, he could have kept a whole lot more for himself. He just did it himself and didn't bring someone else like Kate. He brought Kate in.
Yeah, Dan didn't rip us off.
And then all the people he had in his office, like, he had people that had so much experience and knowledge and just constantly, I mean, we did a mock jury. We had
25 people on the phone for the Model 3.
No. Oh,
You know, like, everything, you know, the feedback was tremendous. You know, so that got me, like, really, really pumped. You know, and then having Josh Dubin.
Someone asked the question. Here's the answer. In general, it is not illegal for prisoners in different prisons to talk to each other, but it is highly restricted and often prohibited by prison regulations. While there's no specific law stating it's illegal, prisons heavily monitor and control inmate communication, especially to prevent security breaches or the organization of illegal activities. And in addition to that, if it's two prisoners or convicts that are associated to the same crime, obviously the court can impose no contact orders between them. You are not allowed to speak to this person, and so on.
Been up there, like, I can't thank you guys enough for doing that. You know, like, having Dubin come up here in 15 and he was sending that guy Renato down. Renato met with us a few times, and Renato was constantly on the phone with Dan. And, you know, the same fucking evidence from 2016 that they, you know, that they just literally made a Dateline special with. There's no difference in a Dateline special, but with autopsy photos. Leaving it up on the screen. Not just clicking on it, but like, look at it while I talk to you.
yeah.
You strip down this little button. It's horrible, horrible events. And that's what people are looking at.
The phone conversation is happening November 8th, 2023, and Donna was arrested at the airport on November 13th. So 5 days.
Getting furious. You got some Miami bitch who puts down Tallahassee. You think she's better than everybody? She even wrote it in her book. Who's showing up at the crime scene. Like, those are two facts that you can't dispute. She wanted to leave, and she got to leave. She thought it was a little stop on the way to nowhere, on the way to civilization. Isn't that what happened? You didn't show up on the 18th, and your mom and your brother both spoke to you that way. Like, that's what the case was about. And then while your TV was getting fixed.
Yeah, they did a mock jury, but, you know, Daniel Rashbaum would have set that up and just had the jury members, the mock jury members, say, yeah, no, that was really good. That's a great defense. Daniel Rashbaum, you're a genius. Because why? Because that keeps his client happy and keeps him getting paid.
And your mom and your brother's making a TV joke, and your mom's using TV code when someone approaches her. Why doesn't she just say how much money it was? This is old and she's rattled. She's scared.
No. I was sitting in front of the TV. That's exactly what.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying, but why you were being like, saying, because it's said that they asked for $5,000. I asked you, I'm like, I'm going to take it back to you. It was 15 years ago, playing Family Feud. He said, name an item that costs a couple grand. It was that TV. It wouldn't be a blender.
Yeah.
You know, like, it would have.
But as you said, one thing alone, it's not one thing alone. It's just, it was, and it wasn't even her presentation, really. It was her making it, just basically dumbing it down. Let's dumb it down to a couple of things, you know.
Yeah, it was false. Use your common sense. She couldn't help herself. She showed up there. Even his best friend said that.
I really like that Kosher style. We've been focused too much on the merch of your namesake, but a likeness of Wendi that just says "Stay tuned" is nice. I like that. I'm writing it down. Yeah, I mean, we should be handing those out on the steps of Leon County Courthouse for the entire gallery to be wearing while she testifies. Wouldn't that be brilliant?
She says that, like, she's getting eyewitness, or she's getting, you know, people to come in and say I said things, like, all fitting together. She's getting it all fit together, folks. And she showed up at the class.
Yeah.
She couldn't, and listen, if you told that to 100 people with the explanation that it's delayed me 10 times since you've been on the phone, they would say,
Acapella, welcome back. Welcome back, Acapella.
what is the fucking chance? 100% happened. Yeah, but what are the chances that it's random? Then that's when you go, if it wasn't random, then she's involved and they're involved. But then you got all these other people making comments and saying shit I never said. It's kind of tough, which all fits the story. It was a Dateline. It was like sitting in the courtroom and watching Dateline. Like, it deviated from being a trial to being Dateline.
Yeah.
Cousin paste. Folks see, you know, they like talk with that voice, and they're like, kind of like, and look what happened next. And look what this person did. And look what this person did. Like, they're all normal events. I guess, you know, I guess it's just, I literally picture myself coming home.
Mm-hmm. We all did. It's a shock, Charlie. Shock to you because you're living it. Shock to us. We can't believe this happened. Cannot.
Wow, the poll for how should we spell the ramen noodleson is 51% to 49%. That's pretty tight, isn't it? But I'm thinking I prefer the EL spelling because, you know, then we're just replacing the letter A in Adelson with N-double-O. Yeah, I mean, I think that's better. It's more of an homage to the original.
Yeah, it's literally 48 hours, and it feels like it's been weighing on my chest for 48 days. Not even 48 hours. It's
Not
still
even
fresh. No.
And 48 hours is another network like Dateline. It was a 48 hours network special.
I mean, I don't know how it feels to you guys, but it feels like it was 48 days ago. That's my body feels.
Yeah. Chad said to me this morning, I feel like it's weeks ago.
Buy me a coffee on buymeacoffee.com to support the channel. Thank you so much, guys. And head over to that merch store.
Well, that just happened in 2 days. You say, I feel like it's weeks already.
Yeah.
I know.
That's exactly what I said, Charlie.
Yeah.
Exactly what I said. It doesn't mean it'll be, I mean, it's not even 48 hours. I literally feel like this is.
Yeah, I agree, Michelle. Just got to work out some, you know, I just don't think we should bring the kid into merch. That just seems a bit like, you know what I'm saying? Poor taste or something. I mean, I'm sure someone would take issue with it.
Then like
Too much. Just too much happened.
it's just, you gotta understand, it's like, I know not to give up hope.
No.
But at the same time, like, you know, don't give up hope because you can win an appeal, you can get a new trial, like it could be during the conduct, you know, all those things can happen. It's like you're gonna have to get used to the idea of making a life for yourself. And I just lost it when I was there, and it went to the side. I can't even, like,
You know. You had a life.
no.
You were coming home for your life. We were all waiting for you to come home.
It's doesn't seem real. I mean, it's just like, it doesn't seem like if I did it, or if I was fucking, you know, having the trial go bad and I could see it happening, it's just like,
Nobody's source.
I'm giving my stuff away here, thinking like, I was feeling so, I didn't even feel like I was in jail. I was just like in a zone.
Yeah.
Mentally, I was like, you know, I got a list of numbers on an old sheet of paper that looks like it's been through a war. There's only a few numbers on there, people I still speak to. Whole list of numbers, just a few people I actually speak to. And I said, I'm going to keep this list with me when I get out, so I remember who my real friends are. That's why I took it and put it in that red folder with some papers. And I brought it with me to the courthouse. I didn't think I was going to be coming back to my jail cell.
Dan thought he was driving you home.
I just, I think I was going to do so much stuff with that. I was even thinking like maybe I won't end up living out in Asia. Maybe I'll end up staying here and having a real solid relationship with him. And I was thinking I'd go out there for a while and come back and probably end up staying here, you know, and it'd be like people would know that I'm innocent.
None of this seems real. None of this seems real. It's like I'm talking to you, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Yeah, like everything's great. Everything's great. What else is good? Everything's great. I'm doing good. Stay strong. As long as I get out of here, I'll be fine.
Like we just said every single time.
I'm fine. I know that one thing I've been told many times, where I am now is like
You told me. I know, Sonny.
This place is like paradise compared to the it is. I have a good feeling that if there is a protective bench, it's all general people that have that same custody level. They gotta have one of them Florida where, you know, it's one area that they keep a general population group that they can't mix with other people. The other thing I hope to God is that they have in-person contacts.
I hope so.
I asked one guard I was asking last night. He said, I don't know, the EOC changed a lot of stuff after COVID. You know, it also cut down all the contraband that was coming in. But I don't think it's humane to not have people get contact visits.
No, it's not. And I don't know. I've done a little research. I can't find anything yet, so I have to just wait and see where you are and what the story is. Evidently, it's a little different in different places, so I don't know.
Just you have to around to get contact visits?
I'm sorry, some places, but I don't. I mean, I'm not on the computer now. I don't know, but you don't know if that's from 21. You don't know if it's from 23. I mean, it's.
Yeah. It's just, I gotta tell you, thank you for staying on the post. It's so long.
Oh, please.
Good to have you guys.
Charlie, we're always good to be here. I love you. This is just a disaster, and we'll get through this. We will get through it. We'll get through it. We have no other choice. Right? But Dan said, no choice. Right now, this is it.
Yeah.
The rest will deal with it. I know.
No. I talked to Ramsey this morning a little bit. He was nice. He picked up the phone right away from me. I talked to him for a while. You know, he was shocked. He thought I did fantastic on cross-examination. He didn't see Dan's whole thing with me. People just want to see cross. They always expect the attorneys throwing softball questions at him. So it's like, let me see what happens when he gets cross-examined. That's really what you want to see, not when your own team asks you questions. They figure you already know what's going to ask you, even though I didn't. He's fantastic. He's like, look, you just went over it and you're like, how big of a case it is, and how much publicity there is, and how it's a small town, and they made a point to show that your sister thought she was better and shitting on a small town, and she showed up at the scene of the crime. I guess that right there is enough to convict you. They were showing that, like, when she was saying that she didn't mind living in Tallahassee, they made her out to be a liar. She accepted it, and she was building a life for herself here. But
I guess this is 1990, right? 89 maybe.
They made her out to be a liar on that. That's why they were questioning her about her book. Her book was about her family and her feelings. She put it in writing. That's what an author does. They foreshadow. And her foreshadowing and her showing up is borderline unexplainable. Her explanations, whether you're talking about the route or the location, doesn't hold water with wanting to go to a liquor store. But it only does if you realize the chick doesn't drink. The last time she went to a liquor store, she had to go to the party that night, and she was picking up the bottle on the way to lunch. She went the way she always does, talking on the phone. Like, that's what happened. But you just go, what's the probability of, like, her going to that liquor store at that time, that route, on the day he shot, and her turning down Trescott? Pick another street in fucking America to turn down on that date on that time. She had to be going to make sure, as Kaplan said, she couldn't help herself. What do you think? Who do you think explanation sounds more logical? The excuse I just gave, or the ex-wife that couldn't help herself? Who claims that there's no benefit, but Kaplan starts bringing up the millions. That's why when I was on the stand, I was like 90% of it's in trust. She can't touch it, and it's for the kids.
Sure.
I think I handled that pretty well.
You did. Because
Yeah,
and then you said you don't know all her personal finances. How would you know? But
Not well enough. I mean, you got convicted and sent to prison forever. I think I handled that pretty well. It could have been better. I mean,
money is for the children. It's not for her.
yeah, like she's not even the executor of the trust. She's not even in control of it.
No, sure.
But Kaplan was like, but it goes through her to get to the kids, doesn't it? Like, she was just, it was painting a picture, and that's why it's been on Dateline, it's been on everywhere else, is that there's so much of the picture to paint. There's so many coincidences that you make it seem like, but they were fucking coincidences. But it doesn't, I'm telling you, when you start a story, when you start out saying it's a 1 in 10,000 chance this person's telling the truth, you're fighting in a near impossible battle for that. Everything better line up with validation of what you're saying is what happened, with rock solid validation after that one. So then you just go, oh, the only piece of the puzzle that doesn't fit is when he's showing up there that day. Otherwise, you just pick at everything. And then between the fluff, you put up an autopsy photo. That's,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's like, you see, it's all cutesy, and then you see what happens. It brings you to a very serious train of thought. So are we going to say that this was just a coincidence? And if it wasn't a coincidence, you got to convict. And I think that it is, and that, which just gets me to like, I knew almost all this stuff, like months and months and months before I got picked up, by 2020. And I sat there and was in denial. I mean, I do, but I was like, I let myself get talked to by other people who at the end of the day, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, just very, it's like I knew what I wanted to, I knew what I thought, I knew what I wanted to do, I knew what my gut told me, I knew what I had up here. I mean, it's hard for me to think that, like, I knew what I had up here, but all these other people, that I was wrong and all these other, that I was right and all these other people were wrong in what they thought. I don't know if they really thought that, like, or they were just hoping, you know, like hoping and benefiting at the same time. You didn't stand a chance up here. You could have brought my dog up here. He would have gotten convicted on Monday also. Like, you know, it's all the auxiliary stuff that they brought in, and I knew that I thought in my heart of hearts, like, you know, I knew the truth, but I'm like, I mean, when I talked to someone about it briefly, I said, yeah, 1 in a million. I know, crazy, 1 in a million. And it should have clicked that, like, Sonny, you're saying it's 1 in a million or 1 in 10,000. Everybody else is thinking the same fucking thing. Now to try to convince people that this is that one that doesn't look like what it is. And you're sitting in Tallahassee telling them that Wendi was going down Trescott because she was going to a liquor store. Like, just about the purchase she made at the liquor store, they were photographing a liquor bottle.
Because they thought they had it with that. I mean, what's the chance that that's what they wanted her to do?
Well, there's 5,000 things in a damn liquor store. And I'm just saying, I really don't know how many bottles there are in a liquor store, but it seems when I go to a liquor store, there's like 5,000 different items that you can buy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could literally pick up like 5,000 different.
I don't think it's 5,000 unless it's a really big liquor store.
Types of wine, champagnes, bourbons, rums, tequilas, scotches. She handed a drink. It's probably the one and only time in her entire life she ever bought a bullet bourbon. Like, that alone, like, with she had no invitation. If she had no invitation, that alone would have been like, that's too crazy. Driving down Prescott to buy a bottle of bullet.
Yeah, if she didn't have the invitation that Harvey made, look at it. Where is it? We have it. It is. Where is it? Nope. Here. This just screams template fake. You know? And then this little add-on thing here. Help the bride and groom stock the bar for their wedding by bringing a bottle of bullet bourbon or your favorite wine or spirit. You know, if it's so real, why haven't they come forward? I mean, I think one of them's dead. I think Lauren died. When I heard that, I was like, okay, where exactly was Wendi at the time that this lady died? You're invited, so please come on over to a Stock the Bar couples shower for Lauren and Jamie. Friday, July 18th. Backyard gathering. You know. It was a pretty good moment when someone picked up on the fact that Wendi had the kids on Friday the 18th, picking them up from school, and had the idea to look into whether she had made a arrangement for a babysitter. Because, if she hadn't, then she might have known that she wasn't going to need one because she was going to be in crisis mode because of murder. But apparently the gathering was something that was kid-friendly, and it did only run until 8:30, so perhaps she was going with the kids. Bearing in mind, I mean, there were 3 and 4, I guess it's kind of late, isn't it? 3 and 4-year-old, take them out to a liquor party until 8:30. I mean, it depends on the people, but these are academics.
Enough to get you convicted right there. Showing up at the scene of the crime. Criminal one.
Like they do on
Criminal. Oh, listen. When Ryan stopped there at work, brought that girl, had that girl stand, slow down and stand next to him for a split second as he was loading up his car and took photos of him, mailed it to Talia. He was showing up at the house helping them, comforting them, finding out what they thought. He was right there in the thick of it because they didn't know it was him. Ryan helped them get the private investigator to look into things. Darren's talking to the private investigator, telling Ryan what the PI is saying. He didn't realize that he was talking to the guy that set up the photos, wrote the letter, stole his best friend's money, got him to hate his best friend, and it wasn't working enough, so he had to put the last nail in the coffin. I mean, it had to be me. Had to be. By the way, you picture of just to give you an example, I was in the same date and time that those pictures being taken, that Ryan sitting in the parking lot and taking those pictures of Darren with that setup girl. That would kind of be like me driving 10 miles out of my way and stopping off at the Publix in that shopping center, and my phone pinging off that same tower, and then me going home, and then they say, I was never in that area, and they're like, oh shit, I was in that same parking lot on that same time, on that same date. That would be pretty suspicious. I'd be like, well, how many Publixes did you pass or routes? What the hell were you doing there at the same time this is going on? That's something was happening.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't Publix at the same time, and that would have been unreal. But that's where coincidences happen. I could have been at that Publix. I don't know what day he took the photos. It's one of those things that just. I'm not asking Dan now, but in a couple of weeks, I'm going to ask him to look into that for me and follow it up with Ramsey.
It's funny you said that because I think that.
Jessica says, of course, Donna was her built-in babysitter. Well, she was also in South Florida, so she wasn't going to be babysitting that night.
Dad can. I think he can.
Yeah.
Along with.
And I think when Wendi moved down to Miami, Donna was promoted from built-in babysitter to primary caregiver, guardian, surrogate mother.
Along with Alex.
Yeah. What did you talk to Alex about?
Dad is in touch with Alex. Not today, but because Dad was working on that. Hold on. He's asking about U.S. legal funding.
Oh,
He was talking about Ramsey, rather.
oh,
He's the U.S. legal funding.
Right.
The right one, yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, you and Alex have been working together to get things straightened out.
oh, right.
Financially, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so just hang in there, because
Okay.
we are. I shouldn't say we
Okay.
are. I'm doing that.
Okay, because Ramsey, I spoke to Ramsey this morning, and I said to him, I'm sure Dan has done nothing but this case for a long time, and he's literally been up here for 3 weeks, so I'm sure he's got tons of matters to attend to with his office and his wife. And his wife's been put on hold for a full 6 weeks, pretty much. I mean, he's eat, sleeps, and drank this case for at least the last 6 weeks, putting it on godly level hours, living up here for a couple weeks. And it's, I'm not going to ask him to do anything about Ryan, like this week, next week, following week, but within like 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to ask him if he could, like, take a look at some stuff from that.
Just
You
you're
there?
saying you're saying 2 or 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I want him to catch his breath for that.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that he even told me, like, I thought he was getting me out, but he was like, he's like, when I get you out, don't ask me to do that the next day. He's like, give me a little time to catch my breath.
I know.
I think he needs a little more time to catch his breath in this one.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, I would not. The only thing I bother him about is just to ask a question like for you earlier or whatever, to text him a quick question. Otherwise, I would not bother him. I know it.
No, he's beside himself. Not as beside himself as I am. You know, like, I mean, he knows. Like, I asked him. I said, "What do you think's gonna happen with Katie?" I said, he goes, "Well, I don't think they promised her or anything, but you know, they may give her, you know, a 20-year sentence. You know, they say you got to do 15, 20 years."
15 years would be good, huh, Katie? I doubt it. You know, no way are they going to do that.
Because she's been in there for 7. If you have to do 20, you get 85%. If you have to do 20, you get out of 17, and then he's
Oh,
already
he can
been
do
in
that
there
sum in his head.
7, over 7. So she'll be. So if she gets a 20-year sentence, she'll have 17 years, and then over 7, she'll have 9 years and change. She'll be out.
Dad just walked in. He didn't know what I was talking to you about, but yeah. But he just saw what I wrote down, so he knows that he's working on that.
Okay. I mean, don't stress yourself out with it now. I mean,
No, not-
but then next.
Not right now.
Yeah.
Give him a call. Of course.
Yeah, but I'm saying within the next couple of weeks, we'll get the ball rolling into that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, as far as like, give yourself a little break too before you go over to my house.
I'm not running over there now, Charlie, because there's no need. Janice is taking good care of Buddy. There's nothing I can do right now, and I'm not running to put the house up for anything because she needs a little time. She needs to be able to look around and find something. It's not fair. I'm not going to do
Well, no, she's not only.
Yeah, and I just took a whole bottle of Xanax.
David sold and rented, but she needs to have those bedrooms upstairs because then it'll walk in. They can't look like they're storage closets. So if she wants to go get another storage locker for $300 a month, and hopefully don't sell the house for 4 months, or don't rent for 4 months. Like, look, if she maybe stay for 4 months of rent,
Yeah.
it may be 1 month. I don't know. I don't know how quickly it'll rent. I just know that, like,
I was like, I designed that backyard and everything was kind of like that was like me putting my stamp on it and everything I did out there.
Yeah.
You know, like, it doesn't feel, I feel like I'm in a fucking, like trapped in a movie on TV. Like I've been here for over a year and a half, but it's like, I was like, it's the weirdest, it's never been as much of a swing of emotions in my life as anything. Like, I mean, like I said, I'd rather.
I know what you'd rather.
It's, you know, it's just have regret about so many things, that I also have sadness on so many different levels. The sadness, and I just have regret on so many different levels. And then I think of Roro, you know, the last time I saw him, I like literally ran away. I like patted his head as he walked away to breathe long with me and Dad went to lunch. I thought that. I just remember like last day exactly how it was, and I told him a good time. It made that moment at the house. Dad came over that morning.
Yeah, that's right.
And I took him to breathe long and went to talk that.
Sure did.
Dad drove the Lexus, I drove the Mercedes. Top hat, I drove home it off right around the corner.
No, Jessica, I can't make it, unfortunately. Wendy's trial, I should be ready with my paperwork, though.
Once I had lunch. It was on Monday.
It sure was.
Yeah, my brother talked to you and your friend's kid who was looking for a free place to stay in Miami, stay at your place. I said, what the fuck are you doing having that guy stay there? And you know, it's Thursday the 21st. I literally, when I called out this number I have on my phone, I thought it was a neighbor of mine calling, or somebody, maybe it's an old friend who was trying to get into my backyard, or a neighbor of mine calling to tell me, like I said, the 2 missed calls I had were within a minute of hearing all the noises on the side of the house and the glass breaking. So like, I had to be someone calling and let me know what's going on. Like, just, you know, had to be a neighbor of somebody seeing something and calling and letting me know. And I'll never forget, he's been following me. He's like, hello, Charlie? And this is after I went into the bathroom, so like, look out the window. And I opened up the window and I was like yelling out, like, everything okay? And then they responded to me. And it was like, you know, you could tell like car engines were running and like there was all these people everywhere. And the guy goes, Charlie, this is Agent Sanford with the FBI. We're here with FBI SWAT. And out with their hands empty and up in the air. My words to him were, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, that were, I really thought I had a burger, something unrelated to this. It was like out of a movie. I was like, like going outside and I got a lot of bubbles, walk outside. Get kissed water. Walked up. Thinking like, oh, this is going to get resolved. It's going to be fine. This is going to be taken care of. We're going to be fine. We're going to get through this. I never really, Marcus sort of told me don't watch these shows on TV or anything like that. I think I thought it was bits and pieces and stuff, but like, I think maybe if I would have watched the full one. But that's TV. You don't think they're going to do that in a courtroom.
No, you don't.
You know, folks, what is it? And listen, I get it. I've done it with you for an hour or two. Like, folks, what are the chances? I said that to people. I said, what are the fucking chances that this happens like this? And their answer is, that's crazy. Yeah, because if that's what happened, that's crazy is an appropriate answer. But it's like, you say that's crazy once,
You say that's crazy twice, pretty soon you're doing it saying that's crazy. Or could she just not help herself? I mean, not 9 times, let's say 99 out of 100 is showing up for a reason. Taking a shortcut, a long cut from 10 miles away to pass by and see what's going on. That right there, I think if I would have had to analyze it as much as I am today, I would have come to the conclusion that I don't know if people would never thought they have this. But it is, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, hon. Can you hear me? Oh, don't tell me it's cut again. Charlie? Yeah, it just clicked off. Every time it gets to like over an hour, it clicks off.
Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and turn notifications on so you don't miss the next.
Okay, good. We are done for today. Yeah, we're gonna have to cut it short, I think. Didn't get much sleep last night, and that was long. There was really not much of anything. I mean, how can we comment when we heard that all yesterday? No, but I do know that there's some good stuff coming in these calls. There's only 6 left, I think, and I think they're a bit shorter. And then we've got some nice stuff of Charlie's Cross and a very, very nice version of Georgia's Closing. That should be good. I think that'll be a good video. We're still putting it together. It's a long closing. It's almost 2 hours straight, so we're going to do a 2-parter on that because I've extended it even more because of what I'm doing, but that's fine. Okay, we're going to say goodnight for now, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. Hope you all have a safe drive home, a good rest, and a fantastic start tomorrow morning. All right, we're going to say goodnight. Good night, good night, good night. Thank you for coming, guys. Thank you for commenting and everything else. All right. Adios. Adios.